Welcome to the Breaks of the Game, where we're live, we're in person. Let's just start with the biggie. Let's start with AI. It seems like every day brings some new dimension to this conversation. Josh, we'll start with you. What are you seeing? What are you hearing? What are you thinking on AI?
I don't know. I think sometimes you just have to, have a healthy respect for the unknown. You look at equity markets overseas; they're booming. Korea, has continued to make new highs. Japan powering up. It feels like a full throttle bull market overseas. The U.S. market has gotten super choppy from an index perspective, and as you've noted, kind of chopped around 6,900 for months. And there's been all this concern around the software names. It feels like we're in a new phase where there's tremendous differentiation amongst industries, amongst companies, and that's making for a tremendous amount of dispersion. I continue to think that on balance over time, in an environment of strong growth, declining inflation, Fed cuts at the index level, we will end the year with a positive year, because that's what the history books show. But it might continue to be very, very choppy as the market tries to figure out that answer is AI positive, negative, and for who?
Okay. Dominic?
Yeah, look, I think the risk is you see what you want to see, but the tension that we've sort of highlighted coming into the year is that the macro cycle, we've got pretty positive macro view of AI, and the market cycle feels like it's run quite a long way ahead of what's going on the macro front. I feel like we've seen that tension come out a little bit already this year. We've had two pieces of news, I feel like, big pieces of news. One is a big upgrade to the CapEx cycle on the hyperscalers.
Yep.
And the other is more of these applications coming out that are showing real use cases, or the potential for real use cases, as the models get better in some areas that, where you can see how they're going to be capable of making a kind of broader difference. And we've treated both of those stories at a macro level. Those are both positive things, right? But the problem has been that the hyperscalers got hit for the debt financing and CapEx worries, and we're now worrying about disruption from the productivity gains. And so you've got this tension between having built a lot of value into a lot of places, and now we're in the stage of, as Josh said, of sorting through winners and losers, which is like a much more complicated thing. Despite the fact that the kind of headlines, I would say, are positive for the kind of thematic at a macro level. I think we're going to be in that zone for a while. I mean, that is the struggle with having built a lot of value in up front. I think it's going to be a while before we know the winners and losers. I think this dispersion's going to be a feature, and the vol's going to be a feature. I'm not sure we've got it right. This I think will punish people who don't deserve to be punished and reward people who don't deserve to be rewarded. But I do think we've entered a new phase where the market's probably thinking maybe the aggregate valuation it's applied to this space is already pretty decent, and it's got to sort through more carefully who the winners and losers will be. And I would say the message for me a little bit is that while we're all watching this theme, there's real action going on elsewhere. Some of it, Korea and places is obviously part of that kind of positive side of the AI dispersion, but also just a lot of old economy, cyclical, cheaper stuff coming into focus, and that's away from this theme that's actually been an easier place to hang out.
Yeah. The one thing I'd say here, and I appreciate Josh you saying I don't know, I think we have to still approach this with huge humility and open-mindedness. And sure. I find you can't have a conversation about the markets without a discussion of AI. It generally dominates the conversation these days. There are a lot of people with very strong views about what the future is going to look like.
The last minute in the game, and what an amazing event it was. And I think this one will both of them, the women and the men, will age equally well.
I think that's right. Yeah, but give credit to Norway as a country, and I presume you like that currency too. But the hockey stole the show, and to give huge credit to the women. I mean, they essentially played a better series than the men did, but that finish.
By the way, they tied it up late in regulation with the goalie out.
Correct.
Amazing goal in over. I mean, really just unbelievable.
And then for the men, I do think that Jack Hughes. I mean, I think this is the creation of a folk hero. It was the knocking out of the teeth, the overtime game winner, the pitch perfect post game interview. storybook.
Yeah, the post game interviews, unbelievable.